I'm going to try and simplify how I see our existence. I'm going to put in really terrible drawing to try and show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so when we are created, we all have a mother and a father. Our mother and fathers all have their own unique coded frequencies. And I'm using the term coded frequencies because I believe we're all energetic, we all operate on a certain vibration, and the way that we are all made up is something that I call codes. It is simpler for me to call it code. You can call it your DNA, your soul essence, whatever word you want to use. I'm using the word codes, and I see them as colored codes because that's just a way to give them a different way that they look as their own frequency. So in this drawing, our mother has her own codes, our father has their own codes. And then, of course, when they make us, we are going to pick up part of those codes as well. However, we will also pick up our own codes, our own unique codes. And depending on what you believe and, whether it's religion or spirituality or where we come from, whether it's from the stars or the earth or from God, whatever it is, there is a part of us that comes into that when we are created. So we end up with our own set of codes based on whatever this outside existence is that we believe in, plus from our mother and her side of the family, and her father and his side of the family. So we have all these codes. That's how we're made. So then what happens is we exist with these codes. We are this being with all these colored codes, these different frequencies. This is what makes up who we are. As a child, we come in with these certain codes, but then what happens is we have experiences and they all hold different codes. We have new beliefs come in that all hold different codes. We have things that happen where our parents react or the environment around us changes. They all have codes. And what happens is then we will change our codes because we will either bring in some of those things that we have experienced or we have felt. And also what happens during that time is our codes will be interacting with these things that are happening around us. And as they're doing that, these may start to change color. They may dissipate. They may turn into something else. They may merge with another one, but they all change. And this is what's happening consistently with us. This is what's happening with us as a human and the whole environment around us. And that's not where it stops. It continues through our adulthood. In our adulthood, we start having more experiences. We get out there, we start having a job, we interact with more people. We may have new codes that come through and want to express, but then they're being mixed with the experiences and the things that are happening around us, that it's constantly changing our codes. The other thing that happens is these codes want to come to the surface. Think of it like a soft drink, and they're the fizzy little bubbles in the soft drink, and they're trying to rise up to the surface so that they can pop out and go, yay, I'm here, I made it. And what happens is, as they're trying to rise up to the surface, because of all these things that have happened to us and the way our codes have changed, we might be like, oh, yeah, not going to let you out. So we push them back down, and then they're going to become a different color. And if we continually keep suppressing these codes, this is the essence of who we are. If we keep suppressing them down, what happens when you mix a lot of colors when you're painting? It turns into the yucky, yucky gray. Guess what the gray is? The gray is our shadows. So if you think that this existence that holds all our codes, our frequencies, as something that is trying to rise to the surface, that's us when we're trying to be the truest version of who we are, the authenticness of our unique being, when that is trying to rise to the surface and we're saying, no, 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 stop, 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 and we push it all back down, we are stopping our codes from literally trying to come up to see the light. And this is where we can attribute it to where we hear people talking about seeing light, becoming light, being one with light, is because these codes are trying to come up to the surface. They want to be seen, they want to be expressed, they want to be felt, they want to be turned into matter. But when we stop and we don't let them, not just because we don't want to let them, but because our original codes have changed based on all those things that we experienced as children, that we brought in from our parents and everywhere else around us. All these shadowed codes are literally those pieces of us that are holding us back from allowing this full luminescence of who we are. So then if you can see that your existence, the only thing that you need to do in this reality, in this perceived idea of what we live in, is to let those codes come up, to let those codes speak, is ultimately what's going to allow you to fulfill whatever it is that you originally came in here with those codes that you originally created with from your, whatever you believe in, from your parents, from everything else outside of that. You literally just have to let those codes speak. But if they are covered in shadow, if they are covered with all these big, ugly, dirty gray ones, you have to find the ways to eliminate those gray ones. Now, you can do work on those. This is where we do shadow healing and all the plethora of modalities that help you work through your beliefs, your shadows, whatever those things are that are holding you back. You can use them to work on those grays, and you can find ways then to start to eliminate and to tap away some of that grayness inside your codes. Of course, the other thing you can do, and this is something that I now do because I spent a lot of time trying to remove a lot of those shadows, was instead of trying to work on those gray pieces, what you do is you will start working on the pretty little codes that you already have. So when this code is coming up to the surface saying, hey, let me free, you're like, sure, come on, let's be free. Let's make whatever it is that we want to make. Let's do whatever it is that we want to do. And the way that I see these codes expressing themselves is the way in which we want to do things. When we are driven to create something, when we have a desire for something, that is literally part of that coded essence of who we are, trying to rise up to the surface and say, yes, let me be seen. Let me get up here out and become who I am meant to be. And when you do that, that little code gets to express itself. It makes more room over here. This code's now gone, and we get a brand new one that may be a different shade. This one becomes more shiny and more luminescent, because as we're letting more and more of these codes come out, we're giving space for more of that uniqueness of who we are. Maybe they're buried down a little bit further, but they've never been able to be seen because they're covered in all these other ones. And that's the continual cycle that I see our existence is, to just keep listening to those codes, to keep letting those pieces of us come up and shine through, so more and more cleaner and brighter and more luminescent codes can start coming up to the surface. Because if you look at it as we're all on this journey towards this light, towards this oneness, if those codes were fully illuminated within our body, well, then we would be pure light, which means that we need to allow them to come through, to work through those gray pieces, and to, either smother them with our colored ones, or to find a way to let them out, or let them release, or let them change into another color. And our life can be as simple as that. It can be as simple as just believing that we have our own code of frequency. And you can call it whatever words you want. I've just decided that that's what I'm calling it. That's how I see it. It's how I talk about the luminescence. It's those coded frequencies of who we are, based on different shades of color that come through, become expressed, and then become more illuminated once there is space for a new code to come through. And if we existed like that, if we believed that that's all we were made up of and that's all we needed to do, we wouldn't need to attach ourselves to everything else that is out there. And we can use those codes to allow us to believe in different things if we want. We can bring in different ideas, we can bring in new modalities, we can bring in any thought or idea we want if that is something that's going to help us let those codes speak and to let those codes out. Because those codes that we are holding, they are also holding the reality around us, because those codes are unique to us. The problem is that we are also surrounded by all these other codes as well. And this is where it can also get murky. We may be these perfect little beings with this amazing color frequency, letting all our codes come out, but then we are being surrounded by people who are operating from their gray codes. They're not allowing themselves to be the true version or the true essence of who they are. And then somehow we have to try and get brighter and brighter in order to create the experience around us based on our own codes. And then if you want to go all the way out and think about it, well, as this is just your reality and you are creating all that as well, that can also be somewhere where you can look at those codes and why you are bringing that reality into your outside existence. But if you can just simplify your life and just believe that all you need to do to achieve and have and be and do everything you want is to just listen to your own codes, it makes it so much easier. And I am now at the stage of our life where I have learnt so much. I've tried to explore and find the answers to every single question I had about our existence and why we're here and what's the purpose and what are we supposed to be doing, to bring it all back just to this, so that I can just allow whatever wants to come through, and whatever I want to create, I can just create, because that's just an expression of who I am. And because there's a lot less of that gray, a lot less of those murky colors, it is just new codes coming through. It's new ideas, it's new experiences, it's new creations. And it's in doing that that I'm just becoming more and more of who I originally was, who I was before all that experience, before all that life, before everything else sort of bombarded me and covered all my codes in not the colors I wanted. And you can do that too. You can literally create your own idea of what that looks like for you. Because if you're watching this, on some level, your codes are watching my codes, whether you look at me and say, shut up, go away, you're talking crap, or whether it's something that unlocks something for you, for your own codes to speak. It's just a tool that you can use to help you facilitate and give yourself a reason for this existence. Because I'm constantly seeking, oh, but how does this work? How does that work? And my logical side of my brain is, but how does it all work? How do we put it all together? How do we make it so we understand it? And for me, this is a great way for me to piece it together, because not only will these codes allow you to become the most authentic version of who you are, it's also going to allow you to attract to the things you want, whether it's people, experiences, or the physical things you want in your existence. Allowing those codes to speak is going to bring all of those things to you, because you are listening to those codes, you're creating those desires. And as those codes come up, as you start listening, they are creating that experience of that code to bring the thing that you want to it. It can be as simple as that. Just listen to your codes, create the desires, create the experience, and just follow those tones all the way to every single thing you want. That's it. That's all you need to do. That's it. I've solved life. You don't need to know anything else. It's done. But this is what I do. This is now my passion, is in the codes, in that luminescence, because to me it's about bringing those codes to life. And if there is something that you want to create into your existence in the online or creator space, that's where I come in. That's where my experience now lies, is from me following my own codes to the things that I wanted to create, have now given me the experience to help others who are on their own creative journey. So if you're interested, just reach out and let me know. But let those codes speak. It's all you have to do.